right. Yay. Let's get this show on the road. Got YouTube on the left and Facebook Live on the right. All right, welcome to this, third, I think, installment of Witchy Wednesdays. We are going to be speaking on some of the most basic idea of wards and probably some of the things we do ourselves and expand from there. Anybody have any questions or comments, feel free to put them on there and we'll try to get to everybody. But as everybody knows lately, it's been kind of weird. We're not seeing everything. But I will get back to whoever later if I don't answer you. So I have a guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Air. I practice my family's traditional Celtic, Irish hodgepodge of witchcraft. I am a seer. I'm still trying to navigate some of my gifts, but I am clairvoyant. I am clairaudio. There's a few clair other things.
You're not on YouTube. You're not on YouTube. I don't know if we can get you on both. Squish you over. There we go.
I don't want to squish you.
Well,
okay.
We're both kind of both on.
I am new to all this video stuff, this new age.
We're all right. I'm getting better as I go along,
stuff.
but the first ones were terrible.
So, like Vicky said, we're going to talk about wards and protections. My thing. Did you want me to start?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. What I normally do is make sure my doors are protected. Almost everybody I know has some sort of welcome mat to use outside that you wipe your feet on. I always make sure that there is, that's my first barrier of defense. That has everybody's energy that's going to walk into my house, and I want to make sure they're not going to bring any dark and twisty stuff that is going to take me days to get rid of.
Imprint you can use later if you have to.
Right.
If you don't know how to act in your house.
Now, there's several things that you can use depending on where you're at, what your traditions are, your ancestry, your ethnical background. I use a variation. My great aunt has used eggshells, just crushed eggshells.
Lots of folk do that.
I use grave dirt.
Yeah, well, how do you use the eggshells, though?
Oh,
Explain to the people.
so what I normally do is once they're all crushed up, which isn't hard, like if you make breakfast and eggs and bacon, you have the leftover eggshells. Crush them up. I make a line in front of my front door and in front of the back door where the mats are. While I'm putting the eggshells down, or I'll use red brick dust, or grave dirt, regular iodized salt, or Himalayan salt, or black salt.
What do you do with it?
You put the line down on the ground. I say a few words. No negativity can enter this house. Positive energy and unconditional universal love only. I repeat that about 3 times. So I get like a nice inch thick or inch wide line of whatever it is I'm using to protect to ward my house with. And then when I cross that threshold back inside, I usually have a piece of sage or even just a white candle. And I do a pentacle in the air to bless the doorway, to bless that liminal space, that there's not going to be anything that's negatively energized to cross over. There's no negative emotions, none of that stuff. You don't want that ickiness in your house. I repeat that process on my back door. Now I have family members that have used moss.
Yeah.
My great aunts don't like fairies. They're not friends of fae folk at all. And you make sure that your windows and doors were covered. I don't have any feelings one way or the other towards them, but my family in Ireland, they're very superstitious about babies being switched and animals
Fetches, yeah.
being stolen and
fetched.
replaced, people being possessed to achieve a love match or a conquest
Right,
or
right.
something. Like it's unique. So what they would do is find like little pieces of moss and put that in the corners of the doorway, kind of like as a distraction. So if they are around your doorways or your window frames, they're not going to get in. They're going to be busy playing with that little piece of grass. I don't know what else to say.
And basic home cleansings and wardings can be as simple or as complex as you make it. Like we just did this house, the Coven did. And I find, I'm from Garderian to more messy, eclectic, and now I'm starting to lean a little more in Greek. Not Reconstructionist, but just Greek practice, kind of. And it can be, like I said, as simple or complex as you wish. Me, I just got some moon water, blessed it, got my very specific herbs that I wanted to use in the bowl of water, my pine bough, and just went to town on the door and the porch and everything, and put my pentagram and just asked Hecate to watch over and let no evil or malicious intent enter, that kind of thing. Drew wards with both. Use chalk?
No, we didn't use chalk.
Okay. I use oil,
Yeah,
agrimony
use
oil,
oil.
which is great for warding against that kind of thing. Sends it back too,
Yes, it does.
because it does not belong to you. It's not your responsibility. It doesn't belong to you. You give it back. People have a problem with that, and I've never understood why. Give it back to who it belongs to and let them deal with it. That's their problem. So, yep, just put your whatever, your bind runes, your sigils, whatever it is on your door, and go right inside from there and start doing your cleansing, however you do it, whether you use sage or mugwort. I like to use mugwort. Some people in our coven don't like sage, right, Tamer? So we go through, or if it's really bad, which it wasn't here, you can blast it with some Vesta powder first. You want to lay down your spiritual resonance afterwards. I usually like dragon's blood or sandalwood oil or something like that. You burn it around. You go from each house, starting at the left corner, and just go through each room of the house, upstairs, downstairs, anything that's considered a window, which means grates, actual windows, cupboards, cover it all. You can put wards wherever you want through the house, and that's basically what I did. I just avatared Hecate, went through the house, and did the same thing with the back door as I did the front. And then afterwards, our coven had made 5 jars for the elements and spirit, of course, and we buried them at each elemental corner.
Yep. Permanent circle.
Invoking that. Also invoking the powers of the witches' jars and the protection, too. And spirit in the center by our hearth or fire pit. You probably can't see it, but it's right over there. So really, it's not really that much work if you don't want it to be.
No, you can keep it really simple, or like she said, make it as complicated as you wanted.
I'm going to read this.
Now, because my
Hi,
family...
Kenya. Hi, Susan.
This, for me, is my first actual property, my first house, my first plot of land. My family heritage is Native American, Norse, and Celtic Irish. I am probably one of like 10 people in my family on the East Coast or this far east who practices our family's old ways. I haven't converted to Christianity. So I made sure that my land was going to be protected too, and not just the house I'm in or an apartment.
Right.
I wanted everything. So after the coven helped me with jars and did the blessing, I went around
We
and
also awakened the fire
solidified
pit.
the circle and the fire pit.
Yeah.
I went around and solidified it with a circle of grave dirt, black salt, and my actual blood. I called my ancestors to make sure that the house and the property were safe, because this is going to go to my children and my children's children, and I want to make sure that this house and this plot of land, that no matter what goes on outside the fence line, isn't going to affect anything living here. And I
Switch over
have,
the phone.
to what direction?
Look at that phone more.
Oh.
There you go. Disembodied voice.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I also have cats, and cats are amazing at being physical wards.
I was gonna say they're wards themselves.
They really are. They are liminal. They're a liminal species, which is why I think a lot of witches gravitate to having cats. They have this ability to see everything.
Same reason why I like reptiles. They have that eternal memory, that primal
Yeah.
memory, you know. Oh wait, you had mentioned eggshells. So for you people out there
Eggshells.
that don't use eggs or anything like that, I found that in some of these spells where you use eggs, I found that certain nuts like walnut or chestnut work perfectly for me, just as an
Walnuts,
egg would,
yeah.
because you have the life growing inside the shell. Actually, Lynn actually turned me on to that thought, because I was like, oh great, everybody's gonna be rubbing eggs on themselves during this ritual. Sorry, Krista. And Lynn had thought of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm like, all right, that is awesome. So yes, use a walnut or a chestnut. You can ground them up and use them just like the eggshell.
Yeah.
So I just want to interject that in there.
I definitely like to add a few of the poisonous plants when they're available. Wolfsbane is good.
As wards.
Yeah.
Plus, they also make a nice, excellent offering to deity at the same time. Like I had some poisonous herbs in that bowl as an offering to Hecate. She is of the herb, and I offered the herb, and now it's everywhere.
Belladonna is good. Hensbane. Mandrake root, especially if it looks like a person.
some
Sometimes
of
you
that
can
in
just
there,
like
too.
hang it above your doorway, or put it above your doorway on the top of your door.
That's kind of expensive for some people, though, and I get a little stingy with it because it takes like years and years and years and years
To grow at that size, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely worth it for your occasions like this, though. Spend the extra money for that kind of thing, because it's a meaningful gesture.
Now, in my house, I have a horseshoe and I have 3 bells. Nailed to the wall. And then on the other side, I have an elephant, the evil eye, and the reverse horseshoe. Now, I've actually gotten a lot of flack about having the reverse horseshoe.
You did.
And here's the thing. So, most people, when they hang a horseshoe, the open part is up because you're attracting luck to you. But when you're trying to repel darkness and repel negativity
Or
and
have energy
repel,
spill out.
right, you want the open part to be on the bottom. It's protecting the energy that's in there, and that's the energy you're trying to keep. You're not trying to have negativity come at you, or
Right.
I mean, I wait a few minutes before I even open my front door, just to make sure that I'm in the right space, that the time I left my car to get to my front door, whatever pissed me off or people I had to deal with, I'm not going to bring it into my home. Which is another reason why I don't let people in my house with shoes on. I don't want them to carry.
Except me.
You usually take yours off.
I do, unless I got boots on.
Yeah. You're not going to track in that negativity. Now, when I do my keep my house the inside of my house relatively clean.
That's another thing, because clutter holds negativity in.
Yes, and
Traps it.
Every week I do the full-on cleaning. I'm a Saturday cleaner, like most of us in our generation are. You know, I don't think I know anybody who doesn't clean their whole house on a Saturday. So when I do that, I refresh my wards at my doors. I refresh my wards at my windows, my doorways in my house, anywhere that is a transitional liminal space.
And it's just as easy as just conscious thought at it.
Yeah.
Picturing it glowing.
Yeah.
Knowing in your mind that it's still activated and still working. Trace over the ward in your mind if you need to.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. I like to use Reiki symbols. I'm a Sui, and most recently, Karuna Holy Fire Reiki Master. And I'm working on my own method of Hecate and Reiki. And actually, I use the key and the torch here, but
that'd be cool.
I like to do that too as well. I like to open the space with that, so to speak, and then close it with some of the Hecatean symbols.
I'm also a big dream catcher fan. I love them. I can't get enough of them. But I change them out. I don't keep a collection. I buy a new one every year.
We also get them from First Nations people.
Yeah. It's better to make them on your own or yourself.
Or give First Nations people money.
True. There's a lot of places that sell the kits you can make yourself, or you can find hi Tishy, or you can find how to make. Google it and it'll give you like videos and steps and things on how to do that. Bedrooms are important to me. You spend like 90% of your life in your bedroom.
Well, you do.
I do, because I'm alone, painfully alone. But you sleep in there. You have dreams.
You're vulnerable in there.
Right. So you have to make sure that your bedroom is protected.
I like tourmaline and malachite and kyanite around the room. Throw some herbs under your bed and under your pillow, in your closet.
Now I have cats, and I know that a lot of people that with cats, they find stuff, they'll take off
your
of
mattress.
That's what I do. That's what I was just gonna say. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I had baggies in between box spring and my mattress right now, which I had totally forgotten about until I went to clean the floor. Or I put them inside pillows. Like I have a ton of pillows that go on my bed. So I'll strategically place them in the zipper ones that the cats can't get into. I sleep with lavender. I need to get back to that one. I used to have little pads of moon water.
Yeah.
That would kind of give me some ease. I have a dream catcher towards the foot part of my bedroom would be. I have a very weird shaped room right now.
You do.
But I make sure that I do the pentacle on the ceiling, and I make sure I do it on the floor and on all the walls. That way, when I'm astral walking, it's not going to follow me, and if it does follow me, it's not getting in.
Bronzite is another good stone to have. It's a little more expensive than your average cheaper stones, but it's amazing. If you have that, you really don't need much of anything else. Bronzite's great.
Bronze is good. Copper is not something you want to have in your bedroom, though, especially if you're an empath, because you will hear, see, and feel everything.
Unless that's what you want to do.
Yeah, unless that is your intent. But it is a conductor, and it makes you like a lighthouse. And I need the quiet space. I need nothing to follow me. I need it to just be me and whatever human is in my home. But protection, it's house protections, I think, are a basic, fundamental, universal thing in paganism, not just in witchcraft, not
everywhere.
just in folk magic. It's across the board.
People who don't think they're doing magic.
My mother.
Right.
My mother was a great example of not doing magic, but she had keys and bells and gobs of candles everywhere.
Some people have Pennsylvania hex signs.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yep.
They are infamous for their protection wards, and they look very, very ominous for a reason. They're not out to be super cutesy and pretty. They serve a purpose. Anything that we do in the craft is filled with intent. You have to make sure you're in the right state of mind when you do protection. Otherwise, it's incomplete, it's wishy-washy, and you'll feel the difference. In my house,
Yeah, you always have to make sure your intent is clear and specific.
I don't know what the issues were on this property prior to me getting it, but it was voided. There was no positive or negative energy here, nothing. Like,
big ass blink.
pretty much. And now that I've gotten used to that feeling, it's balanced compared to everywhere else around me. It is at a perfect balance. I strive very hard to make sure it stays that way. That way there's nothing that's going to tip the scales one way or the other. And it's been a good flow. I'm down to 3 indoor animals. I had 6. 2 have new homes. But they definitely help keep the peace. And if something is off balance, they're the ones that act out. For instance, we had, some weird energy here. What was it, January? Somewhere?
So, yeah.
We had some weird funkiness going on in January.
January, February, something like that.
And it took...
Wolf moon.
Yeah.
Yep.
During the
For
wolf moon.
ritual, yep.
It took my cats a few days to settle down, and they wouldn't even let me go in the dining room, which was
I
weird.
didn't like it.
And the dining room is where I have my altar. My house is set up that it's spiritually neutral.
You also have it at a liminal space there.
I
Right
do.
in the doorway, yep.
I do. That's why I like it there. It just needed to be there. It's
Right,
place it fits.
right where our temple doorway is.
is where the altar is.
You know?
Um,
Which is perfect.
I have a very open floor plan, which I think makes it easier.
It's more organic.
I can see all of points of entry, no matter where I'm at in the house. And you can, even in your yard, if you have a liminal space or a few trees are growing, or one on each side of something, you can set up an altar outside. I think altars do best in a liminal space.
Oh,
Because you're tapping into that universal energy, that energy that has been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, that billion, thank you, that we all tap into, that place where we go when we're not human.
Let me see what time it is. Okay, let me do this here.
But I think that I think covers it from my perspective.
All right, well, you mentioned a couple things you use, kind of, so while I was at work, because you all know I write this stuff at work, and then I come here with my piece of paper. So that's how I have to do it for now. So, my favorite ward, besides bronzite, is a rune called Thu'isaz. It's a thorn. So it's a rune from the Elder Futhark. There are 3 rune rows, 24 runes, so there's like 3 sets of 8. It is the 3rd rune in the first 8. So it's primarily a binding and protection rune, and it channels defensive energy, which I just love. Sometimes, people don't know how to act, and you got your rune that channels that right there for you. You put it in it, and it just does the work for you. So it's said to represent Mjolnir or Thor's hammer, that protects Asgard, right? So, Three Saws has a couple of uses, but what we're talking about is the use of this rune for defense or retaliation today. So, I will warn you though, don't get out of hand with the retaliation or attack, or the rune, may prick you. It's kind of, maybe not 100%, but it likes to be used more righteously than not, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, another interesting thing about this rune is that it can be used as a sigil for aiming psychic force or energy in spell work. So that's perfect when you're trying to focus your defensive energy outward, right? Or inward, I guess. So this works especially well, I find, when you draw the rune yourself. And I recommend that you do that. It's nice to have rune stones to throw around here and there in the house and in the basement and stuff, bury in the yard. But it's good to draw them yourself. So, in the areas you want to create a barrier. So, when I bought my houses, I have 2 little houses on the same property, and people who actually visited my store know that the little house was the store before my mom moved into it. The big house was my house. So, wow. I just walked around, my bedroom, actually the whole house, drawing these runes all over the walls, the windows, everything. The whole house. Doors, everything. Picturing a great wall of brambles surrounding the area that I'm warding, right? So, speaking to Thor might be a good idea for this, if you're open to that. Or even to the Allfather. Thor is a god who protects sacred enclosures, so I find that a good idea, especially for what I did, which I'll mention in a minute. The Allfather, of course, discovered the runes, so it's good to include him. So, anyway, like I said, you have no idea how many times I drew that rune around this whole house, okay? And then as his paint roller hit each one, it activated it. It, in effect, created a sacred enclosure over each rune.
Yep.
So, and of course I was there to set the barrier. That's why I'm always trying to connect people with this rune, because it is the rune of the hedge setter, or Hagziza, I think is how it's pronounced, or witch, right? Those with liminal places and can speak and teach. So, anyway, how you just take it, like I said, you draw each one wherever you want. I recommend doing it in a chain, even if they overlap. That's best, I think.
Yeah.
Overlap the back with the point. So, yeah. So, and then like I said, when this paint covered it, it would react that sacred enclosure. Then you would picture them however you do so. Me, I just picture them glowing, sending my intent into them, forming a chain, and then a bramble, a wall bramble, around the whole area. And then I sing them to life one more time. You always sing to them when you create them. You sing them into creation. So I sung to them one more time, retelling them their purpose as they were being enclosed and activated. So, it can be as simple or as hard as you wish it to be, right?
Yep.
You can do this with Reiki symbols too. So, yep, Three Saws, it blunts the words and weapons of your enemy. You can also carry it on you or wear it. Even just draw it on a piece of paper and stick it in your pocket's great. I usually put one inside my witch's jar whenever I make one on occasion. I encourage people during my workshops when I teach them to do the same thing.
I think you did put them in the witch jars here.
I did. And I drew one on each side, which I'm getting to. You can draw your own little viney or whip around it. And you can place them around or draw them in the ground around your jar before burying it.
These jars were doing good too.
Yeah, they are. So you can, like I said, you picture a ring or bramble of thorns around yourself instead of like, now I'm talking about doing a shield, sorry. Instead of like a light shield, you can do a thorn shield. You picture this around yourself. And it cuts and it slices and it dispels all negativity or any, why is my foot itching so much? It's turning red. Being drawn towards you. Just like a regular shield, only it destroys this instead of just bouncing it back out or just whatever people picture, dissolving it or whatever. I want it completely destroyed. And then you can always activate it to send the energy more positively on its way, or right back, like I said, to that fucker who sent it. So, yep. Oh, and in dire situations, something that I don't recommend to always do willy-nilly, but I've had to do, and it has great results. You can also create a whip, which will entangle and strike back at the bad energy sent, or in really bad cases, the sender. And it works wonderfully. Yeah. A few local people can tell you all about that. But yep, that's it, I think.
Another doorway space, a lot of people don't think of this, but I see a lot of stuff. My driveway and my sidewalk actually have a spot where they meet. I have
a crossroads.
I do. I have my own crossroads. So my driveway actually has a shit ton of cayenne pepper in it right now. There's some vinegar on that little line spot, and as soon as my nails that I have soaking are ready, there will be...
Vinegar is nice and acidic. It'll eat things away, and it's a ward like cloves, you know? It kind of exercises things.
Cloves, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I also have animals that will not, like my one cat just will not leave the front of the house. That is his domain. He's like the first line of defense right now. Squirrels, neighbor dogs, nothing is getting by. Not even the mailman or mail person. Nails are always a good thing. Oh, there's Elfin.
Hey, Elfin. Railroad spikes.
Railroad spikes, definitely. Now, I've seen a few things. I've been in the South the majority of my life.
I have bezels above my door and some stones.
Yes.
Carnelian on your door frame will keep you off the radar. And like I said before, bronzite, tourmaline, smoky quartz, that kind of thing, right up there. You can use some clear quartz right with it to amplify the energy of the stones.
Now, I'm not sure where this next tradition that I'm about to talk about comes from. It's a southern thing. I don't know from where in the South, but I have heard of people still having rushes on the ground of herbs or tree branches or flowers.
I don't do that,
some
but
sort.
I throw them out in the yard. I throw herbs and stuff out in the yard.
They absorb negative energy and emotion also, which keep things going and block a lot of stuff too, to keep things flowing. My understanding is you're supposed to change them every year, every moon cycle, depending on when you put them out, what the flowers are. My mom...
And who you are.
Yeah, and who you are. Now, my mom used to create them using artificial flowers, and she'd put them above every doorway. They were everywhere in that house.
Eucalyptus.
Yes, her eucalyptus was everywhere, and willow trees.
See, I like to use the dark moon to just reactivate and keep the herbs I throw in the yard charged. I don't bother replacing them. They just go into the earth, and I use that moon energy to charge them until they do go away.
I've seen crosses made with the railroad ties.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of the symbol of the cross. I prefer the pentacle. If I don't have a pentacle, I'll create a triangle.
I can Face Trident is another good one.
Yep, tridents of any kind. Burying a fork. I have seen.
Yes, if you don't want iron in your yard like me, I love the Fae and I welcome them. Yes, forks. Forks are great. Knives are great.
Yep.
Just make sure you know, and the people, you know, that dig around in your yard know where these knives are. But yes.
Yeah.
Mirrors.
Mirrors.
Another thing I like to do is around the yard, in different directions. I like
And
to,
from trees, yeah.
Yep. Place mirrors out in different directions. Mirrors are great at, you know, just
Attracting the negativity
Yep.
and repelling it.
repelling.
There's an
I like to
Asian
enchant my mirrors in my
tradition with
house,
the
too.
little mirrors, the 3 mirrors, but I don't know a whole lot about that.
Hand. I don't
The
know
hand.
now, but
Hand side.
Dollar Tree had, and I'm sure they did not do it on purpose.
The one for fortune?
No, they have the mirrors,
Oh, yeah.
and there are 3 of them
Yeah.
together on a string. So yes, just heads up there. Check Dollar Tree. If not, you can still find some little mirrors yourself. Maybe if you want the 3, just glue them on ribbons. That's what I do. We've been going.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Like I said, I wanted her here to speak about some of the things she does and
YouTube.
her family and such. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see everybody for next Witchy Wednesday. Subscribe, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. If you subscribe to Phoenix Fire Academy on YouTube, anything you order from me, I give you a discount. Also, I want to announce that Witches Tea Flint has some events coming up this month, actually. So please look out for that on the page here while you're here watching. Also, Witches Tea Saginaw, I am so happy to announce we are going to have our first tea talks in a place to be announced in Old Town Saginaw very soon. So I'm happy about that. Again, thank you for coming, and see you later.